What's up, everybody? Listen, listen, listen. Again, did I tell you we are in week number 8? Week number 8 of the Mental Monday podcast. Couldn't be more excited. Very, very excited for you guys joining us. As always, we're coming to you from YouTube. So remember to subscribe, like, and comment on this episode, man. Again, appreciate all the support. Everybody that's been chiming in, seeing, checking it out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, I have, as always, I'm gonna say it anyway. I have another great special guest today. Um, we're gonna get right into it. My next special guest today, everybody that I bring on here is always near and dear to me, always heartfelt. As I've always said to you guys, I have been blessed to be able to play, be around with some special people from high school to college, and this guy is one of those special people. Um, we're gonna be joined by my brother Tavon Mason. He is a former NFL player, former Power Five or P4, y'all call it now. Player at University of Virginia, entrepreneur, mentor. He is an author, Tavon Children's Books. He has a wonderful foundation called Tavon Mason Love the Kids, and he's just doing a lot of great things, not just in the city of where he is, in the city of Baltimore, where he's from, but all over the country. NFLPA. Today we're talking about purpose after the game, redefining identity and impact. He is a great and awesome example of redefining yourself after the pads have came off. So we're gonna get into a couple stories in his journey, but hopefully, you get some great value as always. So without further ado, I'm gonna welcome in my brother Tavon Mason. Tay, what's up, man?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, brother. I'm good. Like I told people all the time, man, I've been blessed and fortunate to just play and be around some great athletes that have done great and phenomenal things. One of the reasons why I got into this podcast and just into the whole psychology of sports was just mental mindsets that I felt like this generation needs to hear
Right.
regarding just getting to where they're going to the where they're trying to be. So great to and glad to have you on here, man. What you been up to? Tell the audience a little about yourself.
Oh yeah, man. So as you said in the intro, man, born and raised in West Baltimore. Me and you, we played in Pop Warner together. Went to
Yeah,
Woodlawn
man.
High School. Was able to follow behind some great people. The Keon Carpenters.
Yes.
A lot of our guys we played with that had that
Hmm.
crazy hell of a talent, but it
Yeah.
didn't turn a corner for him.
Yeah.
But getting that opportunity to play at University of Virginia, receiving letters from like Notre Dame, University of Miami, Penn
Yeah.
State, Syracuse, to name a few, and being able to stretch outside of the invisible walls, of the state of Maryland, to be able to see some other stuff and to be able to get to UVA, where I kind of played both sides of the ball my red shirt year, but deciding on staying on the offensive side of the ball. My coach
Hmm.
wanted me to stay on the outside of the ball, offensive side of the ball, and
Yeah.
also getting that opportunity to be picked up as a free agent with the New York Jets. So man, that was like music to our ears, and especially being from the city of Baltimore, where we don't really get that much shine in football. Well, back then it was mainly basketball.
Yeah.
They turning the corner now with lacrosse and other sports that's starting to shine in Baltimore. But when we get the
Hmm.
name for football, but man, that was like my role, lead me there with the Jets, playing, the Baltimore Mariners indoor football, to finally
Hmm.
hanging up the helmet and picking up the hat and the whistle like you're doing now, getting into coaching in 2011 at our alma mater, Woodlawn High School. So, that's been my trail, getting to the point where I am now down here in
Hmm.
Georgia, coaching and teaching.
For sure. I had one
Yeah.
question, and this is like totally off script, and
Right.
um and I didn't have this on my script, but
Yeah.
I did want to hit on it. So we heard the news about Teddy Bridgewater. Um
Yeah.
for those that don't know, Teddy Bridgewater, he retired due to injury early from the NFL, and he ended up coaching down in Miami. I believe it's
Right.
Miami Northwestern, I believe.
Yeah, yeah,
And he took his team to the state championship first year. You know,
yeah,
story goes they find out that he's paying for Uber rides, he's paying for team meals, paying for things that those disadvantaged kids, aren't able to have. If not,
right.
how they gonna get to practice? How they gonna be able to perform? Like, just chime in on just what you think. So now, before you chime in, they're finding him. They're finding him or suspending him or whatever, some type of
Yeah,
discipline. How do we balance that of understanding, our higher ups as coaches to understand, like, rules are rules, and no, we don't want to break them. However, coaching comes with such a greater responsibility outside of just being
yeah,
on the field.
yeah. And me personally, and then also, if I can remember, he's a volunteer coach, so he was a
Mm,
kind of like a volunteer. He wasn't even hired to be like the main coach, and I kind of felt that nobody really thought that school would do anything. But for him to take it to where it did, I think that ruffled a lot of people's feathers because they didn't believe that team, that school, especially where it is in that part of Miami. Just like what I
hmm.
mean. We think about some of our schools in Baltimore, including us, because we was on the county city line. We
Yeah.
not thinking we would do a lot of stuff. And you remember our senior year, we made it to the semifinals. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But no, as coaches, you know what I mean? I'm a coach, and I started coaching in 2011 up to now, just 2025,
Hmm.
on the college level, professional women's level. Even had a taste of the NFL level the last year.
Yeah.
We are always going to do more than what the job requires because we're going to have to do it. We're going to have instances, depending on your demographic, where parents don't have cars. Parents, and the best way for kids to stay out of trouble, and that's that man's community, is to help out.
Hmm.
I think it was a thing of, again, they didn't expect him to have that quick of a turnaround, and
Yeah.
they saw it as a threat, him using his money, not even using it to throw in anybody's faces, but to help his team and help his kids. Because to be honest, we always do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Far
Hmm.
as kids need ride home, parents got to work double
Yeah.
shifts. Especially
Yeah.
now after COVID, a lot of parents are working more than they used to because they got to get out the hole that they were
Yeah. They got
already in a
bounced back.
hole. They're getting
Hmm.
out of a double hole, and what I mean. And we also know, like, when kids have idle minds now, not saying we didn't, but now it's a whole different animal now. So
Yeah.
I think in his situation, I think that was kind of, he should have had a support. He should have had support from the school district and even from his school to give him grace. I mean, because he is
Yeah.
doing something good for the school that he went to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's just funny how I do it. And he said it perfectly. I just go ahead and support I coach from the bench. I'm still going to
Hmm.
be there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So he's still showing that I love this community, and I think it's kind of messed up that you have somebody that wants to come back to his community to give back, not just, okay, get out, go to college, go to the pros, and then take it to another area. He wants to come back to his community. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
um, it's tough to put on. They got rules in place for certain things, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
how are the kids gonna get home? But then if they don't have a ride home, if they're not able to play, then we trying to say, well, this youth need this, the youth need that. But you got people that
Yeah.
want to help you stay out of trouble. They're not kicking in your door. They're not trying to rob you, not trying to do stuff to get themselves killed or hurt or even
Yeah.
arrested. But they want to put a kind of a leash on that. I'm just lost in that idea of being a coach, because we all know middle school, high school coaches is a different element.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
big difference, man. And I think a lot of times, and again, this is no shot on, again, our higher ups, in our different states, I think
yeah,
a lot of times, man, even in our rules, and we need, governance, what I'm saying? A lot of times I feel like we miss the influence part of coaching. You know,
hmm,
got a lot of guys, like yourself, like myself, the great staff that I coach with at Gahanna, you know what I'm saying? Other staffs that I've been able to coach with, being able to grab your players, both female and male, that's a big thing, man. And a lot of
yeah,
times, if that relationship ain't there, you're not really winning like that, because
Yeah.
either the coach, again, the coach really hasn't gotten through to the players, or the players really
Yeah.
don't vibe with the coach. So,
Yeah.
how much do you think that influence over, necessarily following the letter of the law contributes to just a winning culture, you know what I'm saying? Or just, being able to understand who you are in front of and who you're coaching.
I think, and I see it a little bit in the school system. I think after a lot of our people leave the grassroots, they leave, the main floor, they leave, ground zero, it goes more to your technical side and it goes to more of your data side. So, and a
Okay.
lot of those people lose what they got into the business, what they got into that business for, that
Hmm.
education business, that coaching business for, because now everything is numbers, 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 data, 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 check off, check off, check off, check off.
Yeah,
So, and they get away from it, 'cause I had a moment
that's
where I
good.
had thought about wanting to be a vice principal, assistant principal, but then
Hmm.
I knew I love coaching, whether it was
Yeah.
football, moving down here to Georgia in my second year down here, and I'm being given the keys to
Hmm.
being the head wrestling coach. So now I'm
Yeah.
learning I learned a new sport that I love,
Hmm.
outside of the main sport that I love.
Yeah.
So, and I never want to get away from that because I love being on that ground zero, even though it kicks our butt at times. But I like to see that growth in kids, going into the school I'm in this year, Northside and Warner Robins,
Hmm.
all new coaching staff, new head coach, Coach Boone, great coach. He coached at Langston Hughes up in Atlanta, won a couple
Hmm.
state titles. But Al is
Nice.
a whole new coaching staff. So now you're taking kids that were used to a different coaching style, coaching staff. Now I got to adjust to a coaching staff that hits the ground. You know what I mean? Al
Yeah.
knows is in it. We know football. But I like that part of it to see it grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do think from time to time that some of our higher ups need to carve out time to come down and see, what's going on.
Nice.
Talk to the kids, ask them like, why do they want to do it? You know what I mean? Not just creating law rules, just to say I created a rule, but
Yeah.
why do my coach have to help me with this? You know what I mean? Why
Hmm.
do I need my coach to help me mellow out? Because you said something about boys and girls. I went from strictly all boys with football for years, and now I'm with wrestling. And
Hmm.
my first year coaching wrestling, we had 12 kids, 9 boys, and had 3 girls. Now my
Yeah.
mind, just like you, man, I had to shift that to
Hmm.
the young ladies gonna need me as well. You know what I mean? So I got to split my mind and I got to approach them in a different way than I approach the boys. I got to motivate them a different way than the boys because they're going into a sport where it's just you. You know what I mean?
Got you.
And you're a female and you're not seen as a female when you go on a wrestling mat, but get them to understand that you have a certain power that you can give out as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just think that again, some of our higher ups, from time to time, if it's once a month, twice a month,
Hmm.
just what they carve me out my time, Miss Secretary Assistant, carve me out of time where I can actually go to the
Yeah.
practices, not just coming to school
Come
for
check in.
just to check and make sure you doing what you need to do for the test dates and stuff like that, but actually
Yeah.
come after school during the practices where it's no cameras, it's just you get in your car, come
Hmm.
over, then they can kind of see like, okay, I see why these coaches do it. You'll see why
Yeah.
kids, you don't want kids walking home. We're going to drop them off or we're going to help here a little bit. You know what I mean? If you got a parents who house caught on fire, why the coaches help get them TVs and
Yeah.
clothes like that? It's
Hmm.
beyond the whistle for a lot of us. It's not just the numbers. It's not just that. They do it in college too. I know we
Yeah.
don't
For
see it a
sure.
lot, but
Right.
they do it in college too. But I think they just
Yeah.
gotta just get out their office, come on down.
Yeah. For sure. That's good, man. And that brings that way. I want to kind of reverse engineer. Um,
Uh huh.
so I want to talk to you. I want to start this conversation from the high point or the climax, if you will, of
Right.
your athletic journey, then work back. Again, we talking to special guest Tavon Mason, former New York Jet, current high school coach in the area of in the state of Georgia. Another one of my high school football teammates. I have a
Yep.
question. So, um, a lot of athletes struggle with this question: who am I when the lights go off? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You, of course, we know you made it to the NFL, and you seen that chapter end, and of course, we don't want to see that end. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
wish it could be forever. Um, Talk to us about the mental process of transitioning out of professional football, and what kept you grounded.
I think the biggest thing with me that helped me was I had my oldest daughter then, Jordan. So I
Shout out
had
to
her
Jordan.
my junior year going into college. So
Hmm.
um, my transition was keep chasing or put myself in a position to continue to help her out more, to be there for her more, and be able to do stuff that
Yeah.
I would like to do without keep chasing the game. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it was a struggle at first. So when I first came home and I still was trying to get in the league, I literally had to. I literally would not watch football, wouldn't pick up a football for like 5 months, and
Wow.
then if that itch come back, then I get back into training. So I had to leave it alone like totally because I
Hmm.
knew if I didn't, and I kept trying to email, I kept trying to call, I kept trying to go to these workouts, this workout. I think
Yeah.
that would have been my mental shutdown and probably would have put me in a state of depression. So what I had to do for myself was just don't touch the football at all. I didn't watch
Yeah.
it on TV, nothing like that. I just left it alone totally to like empty it out so my brain and my body wasn't filled with it, and then I overflow and no telling what could have happened. So to keep me grounded was doing that. The
Okay.
thing that also caught me was even after finishing, with the Baltimore Mariners and the indoor football league was I got to do something to start making moves to kind of like better myself. But like
Yes.
I also think to myself, how can I stay connected to the game? You know what I mean? And that's when I got into coaching. My first year getting into coaching in
Hmm.
2011. By the time
Yeah.
2011, the itch was pretty much gone.
Yeah.
So I would get the itch a little bit being on the field with coaching, but it was enough to where all right, the coach I was coaching for, all right, yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and make this run again. It was more
Hmm.
so of I get out there and run routes, with my receivers when I first
Yeah.
started coaching that with my, you know what I mean, catching the ball with the returners because I was a kick
Hmm.
returner as well. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So again, the thing that kept me grounded was leaving it alone for some time, allow it to empty out. So if I wanted to fill back up, I wasn't overflowing.
For sure. That's good. That's
Yeah,
good. And it's so funny because, even coming out of college, you know what I'm saying? As you said, you played at Virginia. I played
yeah,
Division II in West Virginia State. It's such a pull, man. Like, what do we
yeah,
do now? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah,
I don't move how I used to.
yeah,
It's my 4 years of eligibility is
yeah,
done. If you're blessed to go to the next level, but back then they didn't even have all the professional leagues that they have out
yeah,
now. Like, I
yeah,
think, and I'm sure you can attest, had the professional flag football league been out, man, you
oh
probably could
yeah,
have played. You probably could have played a little bit longer. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it's so hard to understand. Like, once that is over for your life,
yeah,
like, what's next. But
yeah,
I remember my first podcast. Shout out to my boy Da. He's one of the local trainers here, man. Does great work with kids from every level. He got some guys in the league that he's put. And one thing we talked about is, although his professional career or stint wasn't long, you find
mhm,
yourself doing so much more
yeah,
once you're done. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
you find yourself impacting a lot more people. And
yeah,
again, we can't dismiss the fact that you guys were professional athletes. That's a
yeah,
conversation starter right there. But due to that experience, that God allowed you guys to see, man, that opened the
yeah.
door for so many other things, man.
But you want to know the
Tell us.
crazy thing?
Go
You
ahead.
want to
Yep.
know the crazy thing with that?
Hmm.
Like you said, I mean, that piece. I didn't even use that tone when I first was done.
Yeah.
It took other people to make me realize that me being with those Jets, those two trips, that was a big thing. Because to me, I built my mind to see it as a job. And I was like, all right, my
Okay.
job is over. I got to find another job. I got Jordan. I got myself. I got to try
Yeah,
to, start building my life. I don't want to, rely on my dad and my mom because that's not how I was raised. It was like, okay, we're going to go ahead and hit this mark. If
for sure.
if I start to struggle, yeah, I reach out. It wasn't until other people would say it and they would say, hey, you know who that is? And I would put my head down like, oh man, here we go. And they like, Tavon Mason, he used to play the Jets. He like, Tavon Mason?
Hmm.
Like, yeah, I never used it until
Yeah,
around 2011 when I started my foundation. So like what you said was major. A lot of us, my life after I didn't push the gas pedal like I should have. I should have, like you said, I should have used that. Maybe it could have been, doing sports shows, being
hmm,
an analyst. Maybe it could have been
yeah,
some other stuff. He was like, all right, it was a job. All right,
yeah,
time to move on. Like I said again, it wasn't until other people said it, and then people, like you said, people were like, "Man, that you did that. That's major. A lot of people can't do it."
yeah,
So
brother.
start. And once I started saying it, it made more sense. But to me, I
Hmm.
felt like, no, I'm done. I wasn't there anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and pack that up, put that in the
Back that
closet,
up.
and then
Yeah.
let's go live the next life. I didn't really hone it in or pull it in. So like you said, the life after, which I see now, the athletes now have a better hand because you got people in place that want to
Hmm.
be agents or PR people for your life after. So it's so
Yeah.
many, like even the last few years with me trying to reach out to agencies to try to help me with life after doing some other stuff. I mean, it's
Hmm.
crazy how many agencies you have that one of their underneath their bouts, their missions is to prepare you for when the lights go out. And they said, just like you said, they said they got it underneath their website that again that wasn't there for us. The same way you
Yeah.
got all these tons of leagues, FFL/UFL, all this
Yeah,
stuff.
man.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for sure. And it's crazy because I was just in Seattle at this wellness event, and so I was able to meet. I met a Hall of Famer for the first time, and
mhm,
it floored me. And so because we talking about the path that you're on,
right,
and so I'm in Seattle at a wellness event, and the event is at Lumen Field. Lumen Field, that's where the Seattle Seahawks play. And
right,
so there was a reception after the event. And so I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him. His name is Walter Jones, played guard for Seattle, number 71. So
yeah,
he's there taking pictures, and he has on the gold jacket. And I'm like, yo, like, he's a Hall of Famer. Like, and he just chilling. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So, you know, you saying that, using what what using just your platform, let's call it that,
yeah,
being
yeah,
able to use your platform, like, and that's an encouragement to whether you in any professional league, you could be a dog in high school right now, you know,
yeah,
we got this NIL thing, whether you're in
yeah,
college, it's okay to use your platform to be able to voice things, to be able to leverage yourself. Like, that's a part of the game now. You know what I'm
yeah. It
saying?
is.
Like, that's how people play in the game now. Like, I don't particularly agree with it, especially with kids transfer so many times. But that's how the game is played now, man. So,
Yeah,
if you I would say if you have the stock in it to bet on yourself, man. Like, go ahead and bet on yourself, man. Bet on
yeah,
yourself. You hit another thing I want to kind of transition to your purpose, passion, and your public service, because
mhm,
you mentioned about wishing you used your platform to allow yourself to be open to other opportunities. There were some opportunities that you had. You hooked up with another former NFL player in Baltimore, um,
yeah,
Baltimore native, and you did some big things, which you talked
mhm,
about your foundation. Tell us about that.
yeah. Yeah, so I always knew, even back in high school, I wanted to do something to help, whether it was kids or just help back in Baltimore. So I
Yeah.
always had this dream of once I was done, whether I made it big, or even a short time I had to be able to give back. So I started
Hmm.
my Tavon Mason the Kids Foundation back in
Hmm.
2010, and I just started with just reaching out to children's hospitals. Hey, I'm Tavon Mason, Baltimore native, former New York Jet wide receiver, and I just wanted to come give my time, come. if it's okay, come, give my time, sit with the kids, even like speak with the
Mm-hmm.
kids, do like active events. So that's how I got started in the summer 2010.
Yeah.
I went to the Guild summer camp, and they actually paid me to come out, and
Okay.
I did kind of sports fit stuff with the kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you said, that tag always draw. We got former New York Jet, and everybody, like, wow, and I got them up
Mm-hmm.
moving, excited, and
Yeah.
it manifested from doing those to 2011 of doing sports fit days at schools. So basically doing like elementary school takeovers, like the whole entire day. I'll just
Nice.
every day I'll have stations in the gym, and they rotating, whether it's running high knees, star jump,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I do autographs and stuff like that. I
Okay.
wanted to hone in on certain things, so I started to pick. I made my organization seasonal so it wouldn't overlap with
Mm-hmm.
everybody.
Yeah.
Uh, Summertime in 2016 created my Tavon Mason of the Kids reading tour, where I would hit one or two libraries in the city, and then I would hit like
Mm-hmm.
several libraries in Baltimore County, and I call it my getting active with reading. So we
Yeah.
would read. I would read a book to the kids, but I also get them moving. So I should tell the kids, we want to let's get kicked out the hospital, out the library. So let's do the opposite of what the library wants you to be quiet. Let's be
Yeah.
loud. So we can raise eyebrows and more people come over. So I will read to the
Yeah.
kids. Next thing we doing jumping jacks. We're doing push ups. To a
Uh-huh.
point to where a reporter from the Essex newspaper had did an article. She came out to the library out in Essex, kind of near the Dundalk area, and she did an
Mm-hmm.
article. And
Nice.
got a front page picture of myself reading, and you see my youngest son Aiden standing in front of me looking at the book. So I wanted to bring reading back, literacy back in the way that you and I saw it when we were younger.
Yeah.
So just doing different things, whether it was slipper drives. I would do slipper drives and visit several hospitals, children's
Mm-hmm.
hospitals, and that blew up. I got on to WJZ and talked about it, and had people from the Eastern Shore, from Pittsburgh, wanting to
Mm-hmm.
donate
Yeah.
these slippers. And then we went from University of Maryland Children's Hospital to we got up right before COVID. We were in 9 hospitals, children's hospitals
Mm.
between Maryland, Virginia, and even up in New York. So we was at the
Yeah.
Children's Hospital at University of Virginia, where I went to school. We went to the Children's Hospital, the King's Daughter in Norfolk, Virginia, to up to
Uh-huh.
the Ronald McDonald House on Long Island, to where I played with the Jets. They're in New Jersey now. So each
Mm-hmm.
year I wanted to kind of expand what my vision was for the organization and helping. Even visiting the women and children's shelter on Franklin Square Drive to get major donation, whether it was books, clothes. We would cook dinner, to where we flipped it, and I wanted to take care of the men, because a lot of times men, we are pushed to the side. And
Yes.
I started doing a coat and toiletry drive for the West Side Men's Shelter in Catonsville, and we would make it like a total day. We would do it every year on the Ravens' last home game, and we would have a game on the TV. We would
Mm-hmm.
set the coats up in their center, and the men could come in, pick coats. They could pick toiletry bags. We would put toiletry bags together. A team would help out. And we just wanted to give back to where, a couple of years we had haircuts. So the men get haircuts, and just hearing men that you and my father's age saying, man, you don't know today, just like I feel like a different person. I'm glad you came past, because the men was overlooked. So my main
Yeah.
goal was just to give back, but do it in a way where I like to tell everybody to be touchable. Because a lot of times us
Mm-hmm.
as athletes, especially when you get on a professional level,
Yeah.
we go where our team sends us, instead of we instead of our team going where we want to go. So I wanted to
Wow.
make it where I wanted to go, and my team will go with me. So it's not just feel like it's like a setup for like a PR thing. Yeah, we
For
would do
sure.
pictures, but these are things that I wanted to carve out to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And Joe Gamble, who you was talking about, he would come in, and help out. And then we came up with an idea during the COVID to come up with our graphic novel, a comic book called The
Mm-hmm.
Justice Duo.
Yeah.
And what we did, which was different, the Justice Duo, it basically is a story of me and Joel, you know, becoming our our superhero self as our football player self. So if you look at the
Yep.
cover, the first cover, you know what I mean, is you got two little boys playing in the sandbox, and behind us is ourselves when we put our jerseys on. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Joe
Yeah.
played with the Browns, played with the Eagles and the Titans. You know, so you know, and like the background of it, you know, we was meeting in our sandbox where we meet at, and we came across these like magical jerseys. It was my number
Hmm.
18 jersey and Joe's jersey with the Cleveland Browns, and once we put on, we transitioned to like superheroes. But the
Nice.
unique thing that we did, we took at the time uh, world problems and gave it a face.
Hmm.
So in our first book, it was on bullying. So we gave bullying a person. We made like a
Hmm.
cyborg kid where he
Yeah.
would bully, but we gave it a face. We gave
Yeah.
gentrification a face. In our second book, you know, the
Hmm.
third book, we gave food deserts a face. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that the kid's not it's not just you know what I mean glitz and glamour and you know what I mean
Yeah.
sunshines and rainbows. We wanted to
Yeah.
show because our kids now are going through stuff. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So they're going through the food deserts. You know, being in
Yeah.
areas
Food
where
deserts is real, man.
yeah. So we gave all that stuff a face, you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
on top of it, we would go out, we would read to the kids, pictures with the kids, you know what I mean? It was pretty cool. So I just wanted to be, whatever I did for the community, I just wanted to be touchable with it. I didn't want it to feel like,
Yeah.
I got to go here. Let me hurry and get this hour out the way. No, we really wanted to be
Yeah.
a part of it. We didn't just
Yeah.
pick your glamorous areas, suburb areas. No, we some of the places that me and Joe would go to read, and even with my foundation, you know, we were in the trenches. We, you know, what I mean, where like your Teddy Bridgewaters in those
Hmm.
communities where they need to see our face, not from a
Yeah.
poster from a television, but actually be able to see our face.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you mentioned about, and again, if for y'all that don't know, a lot of professional teams, even again now with
Mhm.
NIL, a lot of these players don't necessarily per se get to pick
Yeah,
where they want to go. So they
yeah,
will pick where the PR person, pretty
yeah,
much are telling them to go. So when you're in a position to be able to pick where you want to go, like that's when it's more genuine. That's when it's
yeah,
more heartfelt. Just like like you were saying, like,
yeah,
it wasn't just where somebody wanted me to go for pictures and likes, you know what I'm saying, and things like
yeah,
that, that it's always more heartfelt. Um, you could have did anything else, man, like after that. Like
yeah,
the goal from your books to your foundation to your clothing drives, your slipper drives, dealing with the homeless population, um, even to you coaching now, like on the
yeah.
football, wrestling, coaching females. Like, what was your drive to continue to stay around just to sport? Like, what was your mentality? Like, why you still want to do this?
One, because I love the game. You know, one of my goals is to either get on the collegiate level, NFL level,
Hmm. Yeah,
and even to be back as a head coach eventually. If I stay on the high school level, I just love the
yeah,
game. I love coaching. You know,
hmm,
that's the reason why I stay close to the game. Also, like I
yeah,
said earlier, I like seeing the progression of our young people making it to the next level. You know, my a
yeah,
joy I get is whether it's athletes or kids that were in my mentor group when I was at Franklin Middle School in Baltimore County was
yeah,
receiving messages on Instagram. You know, hey coach, hey, what's up, Coach Mason? I know you'll probably remember me, but you blah blah blah, you blah blah blah. So being able to get those messages, you know what I mean? Being able to, you know, when I open up my Instagram, I post something about my birthday. I got kids like, for example, the wrestling team this past year. You know, it's my birthday, and kids posted like videos and tagged me in for my
yeah,
wrestling team like throughout the
hmm,
season and some of the stuff that the kids said, and just to show you that it's not about you know my African American kids, it's all kids because the one
yeah,
that touched me the most was when he's a sophomore. Um, Isaiah Eason made it to states for his weight class as a sophomore. He's a Caucasian kid, but when he had
hmm,
tagged me to post on Instagram and just how much he saw me as a dad as
yeah,
well, that touched me. So my reach, no, it's not only just with my race and my culture, it's for all kids. My thing, I want to touch all kids to help them out any way they want
yeah,
if they're open to it. So I just wanted to stay connected to the game. And I know this game does more than just the money factor. It also creates those lineages and legacies for those players or those athletes. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I have one young lady that just graduated, Christian Hope, midway through wrestling. She was like, you know, I'm gonna give it my all for the state. She made it to states, and she's like, I don't see myself doing it in the college level, so I'm gonna go right into the firefighter. So
Mm-hmm.
down here in Bibb, they created a program that runs through one of the like kind of like high school like technical centers, so to speak.
Okay.
And she joined it, and I told her to support her. Like, hey, I want to see y'all do the burn house, like y'all go through the fire stuff. And she's like, you
Yeah.
really do? I said, yeah. And when she told me the date, boom, I showed up. I left
Mm-hmm.
school early, you know what I mean? And I showed up, took pictures, sent it back to the school because
Yeah.
I don't want them to think that it's only sports with me that
Mm-hmm.
will get me to connect with you. It's other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever you like to do, if I can come support it, I might not know nothing about it, but I'm gonna go there and support so you can see a face there. So I think that's why I stayed connected with it.
Yeah.
And it just by not just loving the sport, but just wanting to help our young people, especially with the state of our young people now in the past
Yeah.
probably like 5 to 10 years. It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely been a wicked decline
Yeah.
in their outcome on life, just their outcome
Yeah.
on the next day. Like for us, we were
Yeah.
dreamers. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
We dreamt what we want to see in the next couple of years. They don't even
Yeah.
they don't even care what happened the next day. So just trying to jumpstart that motivation back, that dream
Yes.
process.
Yes. And that's a perfect segue. So addressing the big elephant in the room, we got to talk about mental health as it pertains to
Oh yeah,
sports. Um, one of the things I kicked and screamed about, when you do your pupil renewal for your license in the state of Ohio, you got to take a
yeah,
mental health course. And so it's kind of like, man, like we're here. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
We're here. And, as you said, we should be able to offer something else to these athletes. For those that are teachers, something that you got to offer
yeah,
more for your students, because unfortunately, our kids, athletes aren't receiving the proper, I would say, the proper thing at home, that would more benefit them, the different
yeah,
severe situations. So like it's finally here. It's in that, part of the conversation, especially whether black men, and even some of our other counterparts of other colors. Um,
yeah.
what's one misconception you think we need to address when it comes to mental health in sports?
With sports, they gotta just address the fact that if you having that mental issue or just the issue in general, it's okay to speak about it. And it's
Hmm.
funny you said that because right before I got on, I was on the phone with my wife Tiara, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm getting on Tom's podcast," and I sent her the questions, and the first thing she pointed out on there was the mental health thing, and she's like, "They don't really
Yeah,
have it that much." I said, "You're seeing it now in colleges, and NFL. They got therapists, on the
yeah,
teams." I said, but what you got to realize in my era of playing and before, that was looked at as soft. You couldn't
yeah.
speak about it because the persona of the game, us being
Mhm.
gladiators, but also how the world has how the world kind of created the man as we cannot show any type of weakness. We can't
Weakness,
cry.
yes.
We can't vent about anything. We vent about anything we weak. But that's
Hmm.
also why I believe that you have you had an increase and you still do of us men dying way before our women because we're told we got to hold everything in. You know what I mean? If you
Yeah.
cry, you're a punk. We don't cry. You know what I mean? We
Hmm.
can't vent out. If we vent and to try to get it off of us, then sometimes we get kicked down because like, why are you venting about this? You're supposed to hold everything with your shoulders. So I think
Yeah.
with that, we gotta take that away that with sports that yeah, we're playing these gladiator sports, and I mean all sports, but we still gotta be okay with our athletes or even us as coaches, because sometimes we don't think about that. Coaches,
Yeah.
teachers, or whatever our titles are, we're okay
Hmm.
with saying we're not okay. I think that's what I've
Yeah.
been seeing on social media a lot. And
Yeah.
I definitely applaud it when I see a lot of our women, posting little gifts saying, men, I love you,
Yeah.
you matter. You know what I
Yeah, clapping
mean?
for him.
We
Yeah,
Yeah, and we need that because
yeah.
again, stepping out the doors every day, trying to provide or trying to get better or trying to build in that area, whatever arena we in, whether it's coaching or being an athlete, just hearing that from time to time can help out.
Hmm.
So I think the biggest thing is, yeah, football is a gladiator sport. All sports is like a war type sport, but
Yeah.
it's okay to say I'm not okay to be able to get that resource. I think another thing, and I'm not just saying this because I'm with that school now, but one of the things that Boone had talked about at our parents meeting the other day, basically how the schedule is going to go throughout the day.
Yeah.
Mondays we would have a study hall. At the study hall, it's going to be these breakout groups. I forgot the term he used, but in these breakout groups has nothing to do with football. He
That's
wanted
good.
perfectly for the kids to be able to talk about anything. He said it could be a topic
Hmm.
of if you had $1 million, what would you do with it?
Yeah.
Another one, he said this to the parents. If one of your teammates got a girl pregnant and he come to talk to you, how would you handle that? So giving them
Hmm.
real life stuff. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
the same thing. Me and my good friend Matt Elliott, when I was at Franklin Middle before moving down, we had the G Squad every Wednesday. They would have a study hall where they get their work done, and then we would have our rap session where we would
Yeah.
talk about everything to the young men to help them prepare for the outside world, how to
Hmm.
deal with adults, how to deal with police in your neighborhood, how
Yeah.
to get people's attention without yelling and fussing and cussing. But if you just talk to them calmly, that takes the stigma away of okay,
Right.
I gotta go ahead and call the principal because he's getting elevated. So I
Hmm.
think having more of those in place, especially for our high school students. I mean, it's a little different for college because you're on a different schedule. But for our high school students, having those moments where they can get away from football and we just have a general conversation. Because, like you said,
Yeah.
sometimes they can't have that at home. Sometimes
Right.
they are the parent at home because the parent's not there, or if the
Yeah.
parent is there, they're not in the capacity to be able to deal with the kids because they're dealing
Hmm.
with other stuff, other street stuff. So we have
Yeah.
kids now that have to grow up faster. So giving them that building in time, they don't got to always be. I got to get football in. I got to get football in. I
Yeah.
got to get basketball
Yeah.
in. I got to get tennis in. I got to get wrestling in. All right,
Yeah.
today we're gonna cut practice short. We're just gonna sit here and talk. Whatever's on your mind,
Hmm.
doors are closed. This is our time. Whatever on your mind, I want
Yeah.
you to say it. Keep it PG 13, but I want you to talk to get it off your
Yeah.
chest.
Once you get it out. Yeah. I have
Yeah.
this chapter in my book, shameless plug. I was fortunate to create this book called Performance Without Pressure. It's a book for
Uh-huh.
athletes, achieving excellence without burnout. And one of the chapters in it is called Hidden Pressure Loops. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And what you said kind of sparked that because I think uh, outside of when we played, I think athletes again, this is no shade on anybody's home life. A lot of athletes they have to see something different. They have to see
Yeah.
something stable, and you got kids that's in the state of pressure from, oh, I gotta make it because my home situation ain't the best, or I gotta do it because I had a big bro or a big sis that made
Yeah.
Division 1, or what I'm saying, or I gotta eat, you know what I'm saying, and I find myself, my own kids, my two oldest, they play college football. One,
Yeah.
I mean, they play college sports. One plays volleyball, one plays Division 1 football, and I find myself, man, like in the beginning, especially, because my son, we actually coached and played together. So it was always in the
Right.
beginning, man. Like I was head on and front seated to be able to see him. I mean, I seen him in practice, I
Yeah.
seen him in the games. So it just like I found one conversation we had with him and his mom, and he was just like, look, it's pressure. You know what I'm saying? And so that kind of prompted me like, all right, like we got to start, as well as my daughter too, like we got to start digging into just having conversations just to see
Yeah.
how they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm glad you said that, because that's important. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
as former college athletes, man, that college athlete grind, student athlete grind it's a grind, bro. Like
It's
it's a
different.
job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
It's
we
different.
wasn't getting paid like they are now. You know what I'm saying? But the
Yeah.
demand was the demand was still the same, man. I want to
Oh
talk
yeah.
about I want to talk about a quote you had that I read,
Right.
that you live by. It says, "Do it all, but never lose yourself in it all."
Yeah.
You know, I said that. Do it all, but never lose yourself in it all. How do you stay centered when you're pouring out so much to the community, coaching, to your family? How do you keep everything centered, man?
So what got me centered, and this one bring back kind of like a tearful moment. I know for me and
Mhm.
you, but
Yeah,
2017 when I got the news that our mentor Keon Carpenter had passed away.
yeah,
So when that had happened, that's when I had got diagnosed with Bell's palsy.
yeah,
So for people that don't know about Bell's palsy, so what it is like temporary paralysis of your face. So like my whole left side of my face shut down. So
yeah,
what I think attribute from it from researching after I was diagnosed with it was like stress or overdoing stuff. So when I first
yeah,
came out doing my foundation stuff, just like you said, I'm doing this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Not telling people no. You know what I mean? Put my name and just being honest. Put my name. Being at places for free when people had that financial stability to be able to pay me for my time, but I didn't do
yeah.
that because my mind is like I want to give back. I got
Give back.
here to let me give back, not thinking of
Hmm.
my own welfare and even my family welfare. So
Yeah,
when that happened, that's the thing that kept me grounded because I had to say after that I can't give my all to everybody that emailed me because I noticed when I would email for help I wouldn't get responses back until a week later, 2 weeks later,
yeah,
or after somebody on my team emailed them like 3 or 4 times. So I
yeah,
remember vividly somebody emailed, and I remember Connie, shout out to Connie, she was on my team, and she was like, such and such email. I said, real casual, yeah, I know. You gonna respond back to him? I will. I said, yeah. I
yeah,
said, Connie, like, I'm different now. I said, I'm gonna respond back when I'm ready. I said, because what I noticed
yeah,
was everybody that emailed us or emailed you or emailed me, we respond back right away. Yes, we're gonna do it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But when I would email out asking about whether it's my Flipper Foundation, Character Band-Aid Drive, um, I would have to email them or contact them like, man, you had to play ping pong.
yeah,
So in order to preserve my life, because, you know, Keon was what, 3 years older than us. So we were
yeah,
freshmen
man.
when he was a senior. You know what I
Same,
mean? So
yep.
I'm thinking of that's not a big gap for him to pass away in 2017. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And I'm being what 2017, I was 27, something like that. So,
yep,
knowing that it was that gap was like right there, I said I gotta
yeah,
preserve my life. You know what I mean? That's
yeah,
when, TJ and Aiden was young. My girls was
hmm,
in high school and middle school, elementary school. So and I'm thinking of Keon's kids, and his son at the time was young. You know what I mean?
yep.
I got to preserve myself because the only person to look out for me is me. So to
Yes,
keep
sir.
myself centered, I had to be able to say no. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I got to be able to say, nah, I'm not going to do it this. Or if I do, I'll put it all, I'll schedule that weeks down the line later
Yeah,
because I have to, one, build in that time to try to make sure my home, and I'm not talking about an actual house, but just my home
yeah,
is put together. Make sure my kids are straight. Whatever issues we got, talk about it. Make sure, me and my wife are cool. Even
yeah,
though she supported all the time, I still got to
yeah,
make sure she's good because we can support our significant other, whoever, but
yeah,
sometimes we can feel slighted. So I
hmm,
wanted to make sure that when it was family time, it was family time. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
backed it off. I didn't schedule everything this day, 2 days later, 2 days later, 2 days later, and I'm running a gauntlet trying to fulfill everybody else's desire, and I'm getting left out in the
yep,
cold. Or my kids, watching my kids sitting there, seeing me doing these engagements, and I'm taking time away from them. So just to keep
yeah,
myself grounded, I got to make me time. And for everybody
yeah,
whoever sees this interview, and I hope a lot of our, our coaches, teachers, and even some of the young people, you got to make time for yourself. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
okay to say no to your friends, to your girlfriends, your
hmm.
boyfriends.
It's
If they
okay.
really care for you, they will understand that you need that me time because that what shuts
Yeah,
us down. You know what I mean?
hmm,
That's what, again, the Bell's palsy. Like after I did that, and that went on for a month of my
yeah,
left side of my face. And I
yeah,
remember that year I did that video on Facebook,
hmm,
and you never know because when I did the video, I had so many people coming out. Thank you for putting that video out there because
yeah,
I would want to do something like that. but I was
Hmm.
nervous. You know, even some of my
And you
players
actually
on
did
the
it. And you actually
yeah,
did it while you was under the condition.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, with
because I
it.
won,
Yeah, I
and
remember that.
also that was a thing for us men because again, like you asked me, like what is a stigma we got to do away with us as
Yeah, man.
men not going to get checked out. So I wanted to
Yeah.
do that video like a cutting our pride and our ego to say
Yeah.
if we don't feel right, go get some help or go
Yeah.
respond. So that's my way I stay grounded is when I'm away from the coaching or the sport, I'm away from it. I do my
Yeah.
due diligence, I do my homework, I do my studying, I do
Yeah.
my breakdown, but
Hmm.
when I'm done, I'm done. I don't pick the
Yeah.
phone up, look at huddle. I'm not doing this and not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm done because I got to give myself time and I got
Yeah.
to give the family time. So that's how I stay grounded.
Yeah. For sure, man. This
Yeah,
has been amazing, an amazing, amazing podcast, man. And again, appreciate all your insight. I
definitely,
told
man.
y'all in the beginning, I know there was gonna be some good value to giving. I got three rapid fire questions for you, and then we
Okay.
done. Well,
Yes,
four
sir.
actually. So, one mindset habit that changed your life.
My one mindset habit, I think what we just talked about, bro, was,
Hmm.
um, you know, not stressing and putting myself first.
Yeah.
Because we know when you in the business of the community, the even though you giving, sometimes the community can drain you because you
Yeah.
want to give your whole self, and you're going to run into times where the community is not so accepting and not so giving back. So
Yeah. They
not
want all
draining
you
myself.
got.
So, oh yeah, they're gonna ring you,
Yeah.
boy. And
Yeah.
I had to that Bell's palsy woke me up. So it was like
Gotcha.
downshift a little bit, self care, then get back out there. So that was like the
Gotcha.
one thing that spun me around, and that was when I was 27, 27,
Yeah.
almost 30. So that I would say that was mine.
Got you. What would you tell your 18-year-old self?
I would tell my 18-year-old self, I would have said explore all options when it came to getting in college because I really didn't, and
Hmm.
um, just to work hard. If it's something that I want to do, to hit the gas pedal 100%. I believe with the jet situation, I
Hmm.
think I hit it. I'll say probably like 80% because I think I was just happy because I was there. I didn't take the full extent like I believe I could have. So I
Yeah.
would say work hard and whatever I do, hit it 100%.
Got you. Finish this sentence for me. The game didn't define me. Instead, it did what?
I'd say it didn't define me. It molded me. I say the
Mm.
one, the kind of the stuff that it molded me, and I always tell people all the time. If you think about, it, look at football. Football is like a lower level military. All
Yeah.
right, so it molded me into discipline. It molded me into time management. It molded me into getting stuff done on time. It
Hmm.
molded me to being a team player all the way around. So I
Yeah.
say it molded me.
Yeah. 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 All right. Last one. In one
Mhm.
word, how would you describe your legacy?
I would describe it in one word. I would say continuing. And I say continuing with having my boys, also with my daughters, but having my boys, and just like I seen even when your kids were younger, and
Hmm.
how you got to coach your son, and now I see, well, maybe not now, but even then when I first started coaching, I was leaving
Hmm.
Woodlawn to go to Stevenson University,
Yeah.
and TJ was young, but seeing
Hmm.
them follow my trail. And just
Yeah.
like you, I didn't push them to it. But
Hmm.
Tierra said, they're going to follow what you do. So they've been on the football trail on my coaching side since I
Yeah.
started coaching with Woodlawn in 2000. Because
Hmm.
TJ was born in 2012.
Hmm.
So practices, they was on the field. Stevenson University, TJ throwing a college football at the age like 4 or 5. Aiden right after it. So even the day when we had our meeting to get ready for the fall,
Hmm.
Aiden went with me. He's in our gym playing basketball. Next thing I know, while we have an offensive meeting, he comes walking in, he sits in the chair. So that's why I say
Nice.
it's continuing because they're holding on to what I'm doing, and I could see where it's turning for them. And just like you, I'm not going to push it, and 'cause I know it's pressure. I know
Yeah.
it, it's going to be pressure. That's why I commend any of you guys that coach your kids because
Yeah.
I know that could be
Yeah.
stifling on them because the players gonna think, oh yeah, he gonna get everything because he's the
Right.
coach's son, and that's why
Hmm.
I haven't gotten there with the boys when they played their youth. I set back, still be coaching from the side because this in me, but
Yeah.
y'all go ahead. You know, when we get
Yeah.
home, we do some things. So
Yeah.
I try not to make it tough on them where they feel like they gotta be all the time because
Yeah.
dad went to this college, dad played in NFL, or behind me on the floor I got my trophies and got my NFL pictures, and in the closet I got my New York Jets jersey. So
Yeah.
I try not to make that a focal point for them and just for them to have fun. So I say my legacy is continuing.
I love that. I love that response. And the same thing I
Yeah.
said last week, I actually recorded with Joe Brown. And
Yeah.
same thing. I say the same thing to you. The great sign of a coach of a leader is when you have your kids there so they can see
Yep.
how dad does things. And I feel like
Yep.
every good coach that I've played
Oh
with
yeah.
that coaches now that's coached me, even when we was in high school, they always
Yep.
had their children around, man.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah.
shout out, keep doing what you're doing, brother. Appreciate you. Blessings to you and your family, man. And we'll get together, man. Hopefully, I can get down to Georgia sometime soon, man. But keep doing what you're doing, coaching these kids, man. And thanks for being on the podcast today, man.
Oh yeah, man. Without no doubt, man. Appreciate you too, man. Love you, man. You know,
For sure.
for everybody listening, you know, me and Twan go back to like fifth, sixth grade. So,
Yeah, man.
um, you know, these lasting friendships can last if you make it
Yeah,
last. So
yeah,
that's my last word for anybody that
yeah.
listen to this. True friendship can last if you want to make it last. So, no,
For
man, I
sure.
appreciate you reaching out to me and asking
Yeah.
me to be on the show, man. I appreciate you
No doubt,
100.
bro. No doubt, for
Yeah,
sure, man. Hey, listen, this is my boy Tavon Mason. We signing off, man.
peace.
Peace.